They never repented in Babylon. But God said, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to multiply this times 7. So instead of you having 360 more years of punishment, it's now going to be 2,520 years of punishment before I am done with you, before you will ever have the nation of Israel back as your own possession. I'm kicking you out of the land. So for 2,520 years, this is... Now, let's go and see how the punishment began. Let's go to the 2 Kings chapter 25. Second Kings chapter 25. Now watch how this happens, okay? I'm going to start at verse 1. And it says, so in the 9th year of Zedekiah reigned on the 10th day of the 10th month, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, marched against Jerusalem with the whole army. He came outside of the city and built a siege work all around it. The city was kept under siege until the 11th year of King Zedekiah. By the 9th day of the 4th month, the famine in the city had become so severe that there was no food for the people to eat. The city walls were broken through, and the whole army fled at night through the gates between the two walls near the king's garden through the Babylonians. Now, they set the siege, right, against Israel. Now, who's sending Nebuchadnezzar against Israel? Who do you think is sending the punishment?
God.
God. God is the one who sent Nebuchadnezzar against them. Now, understand this, because this is pretty good for today's use, okay? If you start sinning and start living the lifestyle of sin, and then something bad happens to you, just know where it came from. Now, is God sending Nebuchadnezzar to destroy Israel completely? No. What is he doing? He's trying to get them to wake up and stop sinning and serve me so I can stop punishing you. So this is what God is doing here. Okay, if you serve me. So now they place the siege wall around Israel. The people inside, because nobody can come out. The army is outside, so nobody can go to the store and get water. So now the food is getting low. Now everybody's starting, the famine is getting so bad that they can't stay inside of the walls anymore. They flee and try to run past the Babylonians. Okay? Let's go to verse 6. Oh, no. Yeah, let's go to verse 6. And he was captured. That means the king of Israel was captured. And he was captured and he was taken to the king of Babylon at Riblah. It says, where the sentence was pronounced upon him. Okay. Now, understand this before we move on. When Nebuchadnezzar went against Israel, when he came against Israel, he took all the people of the nation of Israel as captives and took them in chains to Babylon. He got to Jerusalem and met a king, Zedekiah. And he told Zedekiah, listen, God sent me to punish your nation. Okay? As long as you act right and do what I tell you to do, I will let you live in Jerusalem. And you can be the king over the city of Jerusalem. But everybody else around Israel, I'm taking into captivity. But I'm going to let you stay in Jerusalem and be king to Zedekiah. Zedekiah says, okay, the 11th year, Zedekiah started acting crazy. Okay? He starts saying, well, okay, I don't have to obey Nebuchadnezzar. So, this is what happened. So, after Nebuchadnezzar got upset. He's like, okay, I told him to obey me and I would let him be king. But now he's starting to rebel against me, so this is what I'm going to do. Now listen what he does. It says, well, first they captured him, and it says, they killed his sons, in verse 7, they killed the sons of Zedekiah before his eyes. Then they put out his eyes, bound him with bronze, that's judgment, bronze, with bronze shackles, and took him to Babylon. Okay, on the 7th day of the 5th month, in the 19th year, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, okay, Nebuchadnezzar, the commander of the imperial guard, and the officials of the king of Babylon came to Jerusalem. He set fire to the holy temple. To their temple, he set fire on it, okay? Now, he set fire to the temple of the Lord, the royal palace, and all the house of Jerusalem. Every important building he burned down. Okay, now, listen as it begins in verse 8 again, okay? In the 7th day of the 5th month, in the 19th year of Nebuchadnezzar's rule, he came back into Jerusalem. Everybody say 19 years.
19 years.
I'm going to destroy Israel. I'm going to take them captives. I'm going to let you have Jerusalem. But if you don't obey, he comes back 19 years later and says, okay, Jerusalem, since you didn't want to obey, I'm going to take you captive also. So he took King Zedekiah. But he put up with them for 19 years before he actually came back and took Jerusalem. He got so upset he burnt down their temple. Now listen, the day that he burnt down the temple was the 9th of Av on the Jewish calendar. Please write that down, because that's very important. 19 years later, on the 9th of Av. Now, the punishment started in 606 BC. How much punishment are they going to have? Okay. Now that's when the punishment began, okay? It wasn't over with till 70 years. But now, 2,500 years after this is August 1st, 1914. Who knows what happened that day? You good? If you do, you're a good history teacher. World War I started. World War I started on August 1st, 1914. It's exactly 2,520 years after Nebuchadnezzar first stepped into Israel and took them captive. Now, August 1st on our calendar of that year was the 9th of Av. Okay? So now look. He destroys the temple. The first temple is destroyed on the 9th of Av. Listen. The first temple was destroyed on the 9th of Av. World War I starts on the 9th of Av. Okay? So, the 9th of Av just happens to be the same day the 10 spies came back and gave a bad report to Moses. Okay? It's a cursed day in Israel's history. So a lot of events happen on the 9th of Av. When their second temple gets destroyed in 70 AD, it happens on the 9th of Av. So now, on the 9th of Av, World War I starts. Let's go to Matthew real fast. Let's go to Matthew chapter 24, verse 7.